I'm 20.
My name's Lizzie, and I'm 18 years old.
Amelia, 16.
Christina Marcello, 21.
My name's Erin, I'm 20 years old.
Ella Trainer, and I'm 14.
Christina, 21.
Hi, my name is Joanne Perez, and I'm 19.
I spend more time on Tumblr than I do on Twitter. Twitter, I probably spend, I don't even, like maybe 30 minutes a day in total. And that's like a lot. That's a good day of boredom. Tumblr though, I could scroll and scroll and scroll for hours.
Like a day, probably like an hour. Because it's so easy using my phone now, like with it.
Twitter, I would say maybe about an hour, just because lately I've just been using Twitter to connect my Instagram photos to my like timeline and my profile, but I don't really use Twitter as much as I used to. Maybe before I was on it for, I would say 6 months ago, when I wasn't really active on Instagram, I was using Twitter for maybe like 6 hours a week, 6 hours a day. Or, I mean, I could be on Tumblr for hours.
Well, Twitter is probably all day, considering I tweet a lot. And Tumblr, probably mostly at night, maybe around like 2 hours, depending on what I'm doing.
Maybe 10 minutes on Twitter a day, maybe. And that's mostly just looking at tweets. And Tumblr, if I don't have a lot of work to do, if I have free time to myself, I could spend 2 hours on Tumblr, to maybe more, just scrolling and scrolling, reblogging.
Probably on Twitter daily, like an accumulation. By the end of the day, I probably have spent close to 8 hours on it, which is disgustingly a lot. And that's not, I spend 8 hours, but that doesn't mean I'm posting for 8 hours. I'm just reading a lot of it half the time. And then on Tumblr, I also spend a disgusting amount, probably like close to 6 hours.
I only post on Twitter a few times a day. If I'm like really pissed off about something, then I'll like post like multiple ones that I'm like really heated or whatever. Usually just like a few times a day. On Tumblr, while I'm like reading everything, like scrolling through, because it's endless scrolling, so you can literally scroll forever, I will be constantly like liking things or reblogging things, because you can just reblog it while it stays on the same screen.
I don't use Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I never used it. I liked it when I first got it, but I'm not into it. I'm not into the words. I like pictures, so I use Tumblr every day. I post like 1/4 of what I read on Tumblr.
Very often, actually. It depends. Like, if I'm not doing anything, I'll post like a lot, but if like I'm doing something, I'll send like a tweet here and there, but a lot,
Okay.
yes.
And on Tumblr, like when you're on it, you reblog a lot?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
When I'm on Twitter, I don't really tweet as much as I'm reading other people's like posts and things like that. Whereas on Tumblr, I post a lot of like original posts, either pictures of myself, pictures of my friends, art, things like that, and I'm constantly like reblogging posts as well. So I would say about 90% of the time that I'm on Tumblr, I'm always using it. Instead of just viewing the posts, whereas maybe 10% of the time on Twitter, I'm actually posting things.
I'll retweet things about LGBTQ news, or just like news in general, if I like think that people should know about it or it deserves like a little bit more press. And actual like authentic posts, I don't know, if I think something's funny, if I think I have something funny to say, like I'll tweet it. Or if I like want to like, you know, quickly complain about like not wanting to be in class or wanting Monday to be over quickly. Tumblr, I post a lot of pictures, quotes, things that I find funny.
On Twitter, I mostly post things that are relevant to my life, like how I'm feeling if I'm posting it. I don't retweet a whole lot, maybe like a funny quote or something. On Tumblr, I post things that are relevant to like my own media life. Like if there's something about a show that I like, I'll reblog it, or news.
On Tumblr, I like fashion stuff, like clothes and like models and stuff, and a lot of black and white pictures, and that's basically it.
My tweets are mainly about kind of like my life, pretty much, like what I'm doing, because people want to know. And on Tumblr, I pretty much just reblog kind of like what I think life is, like not reality obviously, but like kind of like cute couples and like quotes and the ocean, and
it's sort of like what you want life to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right now I'm in the elevator and I'm headed to the group meeting, which is, well, we're going to the comm lab today. I forgot my tripod, so I don't think that my group is gonna be happy with that, but okay, here we go. We're gonna surprise them. They don't know that I'm already recording. Here we go. Hey, I'm recording already.
That's so sick.
Sick? That's not good. Okay.
Okay, so we're currently stalking people on Tumblr and Twitter and looking at their tweets and Tumblr posts and what different people in certain age brackets consider as appropriate for sharing on these social networking sites. So far, V, who's filming,
Hello.
she's been able to get a couple of tweets that are inappropriate. Sorry, this is my Tumblr page. Oh, that is totally inappropriate. And I'm trying to find some on mine.
There's definitely some stuff that's like kind of crossing the line, but then you start to think also on something like Tumblr, it's a personal account, but then you also have the other side where like it's a public account. It's personal, not private.
Yeah, but I feel like you could make that like that argument about Twitter too.
Yeah.
So I feel like Twitter is almost on the.
It's like a very
supposed to
fine
borderline
line.
like the private journal, like your thoughts,
Yeah.
but it's also extremely public.
Yeah.
And
Twitter limits you a lot too with like how much you can post.
Yeah.
Tumblr doesn't do that. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot.
I don't know, and I feel like I was doing some research with V, who's filming.
Hello.
And I felt like when I was going through my tweets on my timeline, a lot of the inappropriate things that were coming up were like mainly just like people kind of complaining about their personal lives, like, oh, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or they were sending really inappropriate tweets to celebrities, which always baffles me because I'm like, these people can read.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
it's not, you know what I mean? Just because you send something to a celebrity, even though they get like 200,000 tweets a minute,
They'll still
I
see
think
it.
that they want people to see it though.
They must.
I think they
they
want
like
the
that.
celebrity to see it. Like, I tweeted at Justin Timberlake and I had every intention that he would see it. Like, I wanted him to.
And then on Tumblr, I feel like I saw a lot of posts about personal issues on a different level, like
Far more like self-harm.
Yeah, depression and
Totally.
suicide, and they're very
More
graphic
like a
because
diary.
people make GIFs and there's pictures and it's not just words. And I don't know. I feel like on Tumblr, I'm a little bit more uncomfortable sometimes because
Yeah, me too.
some of them are people that I know. So
And
to
you
see-
don't know that they
and
feel
don't-
that way until
yeah,
you see it.
Exactly. And you made the point about, you know, like, you ask someone how they're doing, they're like, oh, good. But then 2 minutes later, they're on Tumblr and they're posting all these things. And it's like, oh, that's what you were thinking? So why didn't you just say that when I asked you how you were
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, or it's like the whole like, what are you doing? Nothing. And then you go on one of someone's like social media accounts and they like went to a show and went to a bar and hung out with friends and took pictures and you're like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
But that's where it like kind of starts to like destroy relationships and starts to like destroy friendships too when you like aren't thinking about sharing things. I feel like it's also become like kind of more acceptable to do it on Tumblr because
That's the
it's
Tumblr
very-
community.
yeah, and it's
completely
very
different.
it's very visually based. It's a lot more photos than text. I mean, they both speak equally, but you're gonna get more graphic photos and like more graphic content with Tumblr, like because you were saying you're limited on Twitter.
Yeah, one of the things I found on Twitter was of a teacher, like how you were saying, like that teacher with the Facebook and everything, and she was following her students and she was posting like all these like really inappropriate pictures of her like doing stuff, and I feel like that's affecting the younger.
I think like that is an example of oversharing.
Yeah.
You know how people do like the number surveys through their ask box, like one color. Yeah. What do you feel like? Do you think that that's a form of oversharing?
I absolutely think that's oversharing.
Some of those questions are so, what's the word I'm looking for? So explicit that I'm just like, who? And they answer them, and I'm like, who in their right mind would answer this?
I feel like that kind of breaks down into like two different possibilities. One, someone is so starved for attention that just like wants to be that person that has thousands and thousands of followers, so they pose ways for people to interact with them so that it makes them like, I don't know, like more out there, like on the social media network or whatever. But then there's also those people who are so starved for attention in the way that they feel alone. Do you know what I mean? So there's like,
yeah, so you have to, in a way, like sort of,
you have to kind of sort out what you
feel
think.
sympathy for them, because like that's so sad, like that I'm sorry that you feel that way, but at the same time, like I agree with you in that like people are put those questions out there, or like even like just the posts that are like, ask me something in my ask box
like
tonight.
Ask me what my favorite sex position is.
Yeah, like
come on,
like, and like at the same time it causes like some sense of like togetherness, because we're like learning something about the people who like you talk to, but I don't know, I think that it's oversharing, because a lot of those questions, but like that's where it comes, like the issue is like which is oversharing and which is like sharing to be a community.
The people that I do follow, they're definitely open-minded, like with sexuality, with their personal life, with drugs, with anything. Like a lot of the people that I follow, I feel like Tumblr is a place where all these people go to not to be judged and to express their interests that not necessarily other people are interested in, but like they feel like it's a safe place where they can go to just post these images.
People on Twitter that I follow are kind of like closely my friends, like celebrities and like other people I probably don't know. Tumblr, people I've never met in my life, like I probably never even know them, probably on the other side of the country.
Just follow my friends because I don't like want like strangers following me. But Tumblr, I follow like celebrities, like Kylie Jenner and like her friends and like things that I don't know. I like their blogs a lot. I basically follow anything I like on that.
On Twitter, both of them I would say mostly my age group. I don't follow. I mean, on Twitter I follow some celebrities, so those would be older than me a little bit, like late 20s, early 30s. On Tumblr I only follow really people who like, I'd say the youngest person I follow is 17, and the oldest person I follow is probably like 25.
I don't like people that like I know from my hometown following me on Twitter, and it's not because I post anything bad, or it's not because I like post crap about my hometown. It's just I don't know, like I like the fact that I can keep it private and personal, and so I follow a lot of people that I come to get to know, but I don't know when I first follow them, and it's usually people that have the same interest in music or TV shows. And then on Tumblr I follow like a lot of themed blogs that are based on TV shows or musicians. The only people that I follow on Tumblr I think are like you and Alex and my roommate. That's about it.
I think the cons of social media as a whole is, like, from my perspective on Tumblr, like the things I'm reblogging, I wish my life kind of was that. So I'll try to make my life seem as if it's that, but in reality it's not. So that's kind of like the cons for me. like I wish my life looked like that. So, you know, it kind of like brings my, you know, what do you want to call it, self-esteem down. Because if I don't look like somebody or something, you know what I mean? Yep. So that's my con of it.
I mean, I feel like I really don't see many cons on there. It does give people a room to speak, even ignorantly, but people are going to be ignorant online and offline.
Twitter encourages complaints and encourages sharing, or like oversharing, I guess. I think that now what the younger generation is doing is they're taking those complaints that when I was younger I would complain to my best friend, and I think they're putting it on Twitter because it's a fast way to get out to a lot of people, and that way you have a better chance of someone caring. They look for other people to give them approval, and that's through liking and retweeting, and like if their post gets comments on it or if their post gets reblogged, then that makes them feel good. I mean, is that something that we've always done, like as a society, as humanity? Probably. But I think that because of social networking, because of social media, it's so much faster.
You post things about yourself, about your daily life, trying to get closer to other people. You want them to read it, you want them to like it, you want them to comment on it, but it's actually distancing you from them. Like, as the more that you spend time on the internet engaging with people, the less time you spend face-to-face contacts with people, actually talking to people, like body language, that becomes eliminated. You can do everything so fast online, and you can be in contact with someone so fast without even knowing who they really are. It promotes like really fast judgment of people.
I feel like if we had a little bit more time, or if we had decided this at the very beginning, I would have loved to see like a male perspective on the different websites, because I feel like there is this kind of ongoing trend with women about what they're posting, and so it would have been, I think it would have been great to kind of see like
some totally
the opposite reaction, as far as like, okay, so if women are constantly posting about like weight loss and self-harm, then how does that translate with men?
Yeah, they probably post completely different things.
Also makes us look at what different genders are using these different platforms for. Like, are women using Tumblr as an outlet for like their feelings and emotions and problems, whereas men are using Tumblr to like look at sex gifs? We're not saying that they are all the time, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that just brings up another point about like the categories. Is we didn't start out with a category that had to do with sexual stuff, but then as time went on, we started a category for sex stuff, which just makes me think that if we did do it again, that we could add even more categories, just because I feel like everyone's kind of on Tumblr in a certain community for a different reason. Like
the category that was just interest, like we could have broken that down if we had more time, because it's just really broad.
Yeah, interest was broad.
Yeah, I think it's like everything on Tumblr was an interest.
Yeah, exactly, because everything is based on like what you're like quote unquote interested in.